Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Queen Elizabeth, A Day in Her Life. I've really been enjoying this series about Princess Alexandra. I didn't know anything about her, but what a fascinating lady she has been. So let's find out what's going on today. At Sandringham in January of 1886, the princess got diphtheria, a disease which left her with permanent throat issues. The prince was up to his old tricks. He had come up to London where, as in 1867, his mania for amusing himself while his wife was lying ill caused some unfavorable comment. The princess herself was giving cause for some slight scandal by her intimacy with Lady Lonsdale, who had been involved in a notorious divorce case, a friendship which the Queen met with considerable disapproval. The princess told Ponsonby that she did not really care for Lady Lonsdale, but that she was determined to see fair play. And her support for someone else she believed to be an injured party, she wouldn't listen to anybody, not even to Mrs. Gladstone, who had tried to intervene. The year 1887 was a bright one with the splendor of Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee. The splendor didn't go for describing Queen Victoria's clothes, since the Queen decided not to wear her crown and robes of state at the Thanksgiving service. The royal family was distressed by this and had the Princess of Wales, Queen Victoria's favorite, talk to the Queen and try to convince her to wear a crown and not a bonnet. In less than no time, the princess emerged from this interview totally defeated. She said, "I was never so snubbed in all my life." So Queen Victoria, wearing her bonnet, drove to the Abbey, and with her in the open carriage drove the Prince of Wales and the princess, dear Alex, who is quite a daughter to me. In 1888, the year after the Jubilee, came the celebrations in honor of the silver wedding of the prince and princess. At a family dinner party, the princess appeared radiant in white and silver. She had insisted on fastening a real orange beside the spray of orange blossom in her hair, protesting that she was now no bud but the ripened fruit. Few are the women of 43 who could wear an orange on their head and appear more lovely than ludicrous. The more formal official celebrations for the silver wedding were cut short by the news of the death of the German Emperor William I. The new Emperor, Frederick III, Queen Victoria's son-in-law, reigned for only 93 days. He died on 15 June from cancer of the throat. At the Queen's personal request, the princess swallowed her hatred of Prussia and attended the funeral in the company of her husband, Prince George, and Oliver Montagu. She deeply pitied her sister-in-law, now the Dowager Empress Frederick. Hers is a lonely life and a terribly sad one, all her plans and ambitions crushed, and nothing left but remembrance of the past. The new emperor, that young fool William, was no comfort at all to his mother, but rather the reverse, setting himself against the liberal ideas which had been so dear to her father. "He gets more foolish and conceited in every day," the princess wrote. "Evidently he wants to show and teach the world how an emperor should behave." The princess was probably grateful that her own sons didn't resemble William. The princess wrote, "Yes, indeed," to Prince George on the 23rd of April, 1888. "We were a most happy family, and I thank God for having given me such good and affectionate children, who are my real comfort in this world." Whatever his faults Prince Eddie had, he was never an undutiful son. Queen Victoria wrote that Eddie is a dear, good, simple boy, and there is no fear of his ever becoming undutiful to me or his parents. He is very steadily inclined. Prince Eddie may have been pure and simple, but he wasn't steady, according to Mr. Pope Hennessy. Among the few things Prince Eddie really cared for was every form of dissipation and amusement. He had no serious taste whatsoever to weigh on the other side of the scale. He was curiously immature for his age, his time at Cambridge having failed to awaken in him the slightest interest in anything intellectual or bookish. The army did rather more to develop his character. After Cambridge, he joined the 10th Hussars, where his fellow officers did their best to shake him out of his apathy, urging him to play polo, to act as a galloper, and to join the various regimental activities. He was modest, cheerful, and very attractive to women. He could talk well enough when he chose, but he totally lacked any power of concentration. Ponsonby noticed that even his conversation would tail off and that he had a trick of perpetual fidgets, amounting almost to a nervous tic. The princess's daughters were a shadowy trio, often referred to by the unpleasing collective nickname of the Hags. I was wondering what they were going to mention her daughters, because it always talked about was her two sons. But now it seems like there wasn't much to speak of. Their mother had been at some pains to have taught them music. Otherwise, their education seems to have been almost entirely neglected. In public, they appeared diffident and shy. In private, they were less inhibited, romping about the corridors at Sandringham and indulging in the family passion for practical jokes. On the 27th of July, 1889, the eldest of them, Princess Louise, married the Earl of Fife, whom Queen Victoria rather reluctantly created a duke. Nevertheless, this marriage pleased the Queen, who was always glad when her descendants married outside the narrow family circle, and especially glad when they married Scotsmen. The bridegroom was 18 years older than the bride. In the spring of 1890, the princess's second son, Prince George, went with his father to visit Germany. Various things they did there made the princess mad. The first thing she got mad about was strange. She was brought up a Lutheran, and she blamed her son for taking Holy Communion at a Lutheran service. She said, "I'm really sorry you should have done so. As with you, it must have been a perfect farce, as you have often told me you could not understand a word of German. How could you suddenly have gotten so learned as to be able to take part in such a sacred ceremony? And although you imagine it's exactly the same as our English service, certainly the forms are different, the doctrines also." She was also upset that her son had been made honorary colonel of a Prussian regiment. "My Georgie boy has become a real live, filthy, blue-coated, pickle-hob German soldier." Magnanimously, she added a word of forgiveness. "It was your misfortune, not your fault." 1890 and 1891 were unhappy years for the princess. She was troubled by the love affairs both of her husband and her elder son. On his arrival home from India in May 1890, Prince Eddie was created Duke of Clarence and Avondale. He returned home looking ill. It was clear that his dissipations were beginning to undermine his health. The obvious solution would have to be marriage, but where would a bride be found? His own choice would have been his pretty cousin, Alice, Princess of Hesse, daughter of Princess Alice, but she would have none of him. Queen Victoria then suggested another cousin, Mauzy. Princess Margaret was not regularly pretty. Maybe for this reason Prince Eddie refused to consider her. Instead, in flat defiance of clear and positive warnings from his wise grandmother, he proceeded to fall in love with the most impossible of all princesses, Helene de Orleans. Nothing could be said against Princess Helene personally. She was both good and attractive, and she would have made Prince Eddie an admirable wife had she not been a Roman Catholic and the daughter of the Comte de Paris, a pretender to the Russian throne. Although the political obstacles in the way of such a marriage were difficult enough, the religious ones were insuperable. There was no way to get around the fact that the British Constitution forbade the heir of the throne to marry a Roman Catholic. The Princess of Wales, though, smiled upon the romance. She felt that Prince Eddie had been broken-hearted over Princess Alice's refusal, and she couldn't bear to see him thwarted again, and she much preferred the daughter of a French pretender to any German princess. Prince Eddie's sisters told him how much in love Princess Helene was with him, and Princess Louise, now Duchess of Fife, arranged the two should meet each other frequently at her house at Sheen, pressing home her point by inviting the Princess Helene to Mar Lodge, her Scottish home. There in August 1890, the pair became engaged. The princess was foolish to encourage this impossible match. The first obstacle in the lovers' way was Queen Victoria's formidable disapproval. No sooner had they told the princess of their engagement than with feminine guile she insisted that they should there and then go to Balmoral, and trusting to the queen's warm heart, appeal to her to give her consent. The princess would listen to no more protests from her reluctant son, but ordering a carriage, she pushed the pair into it, at the last moment thrusting a picnic luncheon after them to sustain their fainting spirits. All went well as she had hoped and predicted. The queen, taken by storm in this fashion, capitulated at once to the appeal of young love, and gave the couple her blessing. Princess Helene was prepared to change her religion if necessary and to become a Protestant. The Princess of Wales could see no reason against such a step had not her own sister changed her religion and joined the Orthodox Church on her marriage. The Comte of Paris, however, would not hear of such a suggestion. Princess Helene herself only made matters worse by a personal appeal to the Pope, who would only say that, come what might, she must remain a Roman Catholic. The Princess of Wales wrote to Prince George, "All we can do now is to wait and see what time can do for us and trust in God to help us. In the meantime, they go on corresponding and loving one another from a distance." Prince Eddie may have gone on loving Princess Helene from a distance, but meanwhile he was loving someone else at closer quarters. In love, as in everything else, he was incapable of concentrating on one subject for any length of time. When he was supposedly yearning for the Princess Helene, he was in fact writing a series of naively affectionate letters to the pretty Lady Sybil St. Clair Erskine. His mother, however, knew nothing of this development. To her, he was simply lovesick. He was simply her lovesick boy over whom her heart constantly grieved. So I will end the video here. In the next episode, not only is Prince Eddie having trouble, so is his father. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you haven't subscribed, if you could do it, it would help the channel to grow, as well as giving a thumbs up. It's all a great help. And if you haven't clicked on the notification bell, if you could do that, it lets you know when a video is posted. More importantly, I want to wish everyone a good day, and tune in again soon for another episode of Queen Elizabeth, A Day in Her Life. Thank you. Bye.